she said. I need space to find myself. Let's just be friends. I stayed calm, then removed her from my insurance, changed the door code, and canceled her flight. 72 hours later, she was crying outside in my hoodie, saying, I didn't think you'd actually let me go. Jenna came home that night quieter than usual. No hey babe, no half smile, no kiss on the cheek like she'd done 1,000 times before. She set her purse down carefully on the kitchen counter, like she didn't want to disturb the air around us, then walked into the living room and sat across from me. Something in her posture told me this wasn't going to be an average evening. She folded her hands in her lap and said, I've been thinking a lot lately, and I think I need some space. Just to figure myself out again. I don't want a full breakup. I just need time to find myself. Let's pause things for now. I sat back on the couch and stared at her for a moment, not in shock, but in understanding. Something had been off for weeks. Less affection, shorter replies, a kind of distance that didn't need words to explain. Still, hearing her say it out loud put a pit in my chest. But I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I said, all right, take all the time you need. She looked surprised, like she expected a fight. But I wasn't going to fight for someone who didn't know if she wanted to be here. We'd been together for nearly 3 years. I'm 31, she's 28. We moved in together after a year and a half, split rent, shared groceries, took turns cooking when work didn't completely drain us. I added her to my health insurance last year. We were planning a trip to Maui in 2 weeks, our first proper vacation since the pandemic. We'd been building something that felt solid. Or so I thought. But now she was telling me she wasn't sure. That maybe she needed to press pause on everything we'd built just so she could rediscover herself. I nodded, got up from the couch, walked to the drawer where we kept the apartment access cards, and pulled hers out. Without saying much, I placed it on the table next to her. Her eyes followed my hand. I saw confusion in her face, but she didn't say anything. Maybe she thought it was symbolic. Maybe she didn't expect me to actually act on anything right away. The next morning, I removed her from my health insurance. I emailed HR, filled out the necessary forms, and checked it off my list like any other Monday task. That evening, I logged into the airline portal and canceled her ticket to Maui. Mine. I switched it to a solo flight. The apartment door code was changed too. She wasn't on the lease, after all. Then I went to the living room and turned on Netflix. Before I pressed play, I removed her profile and changed the password. It wasn't about revenge. It was about boundaries. She said she needed space. I was giving her space. 3 days passed with no word, until the voicemail started. First one, then 5 more within the same evening. Hey, I didn't think you'd just shut everything off like that. I'm staying at Katie's. I just needed a breather, not whatever this is. Why'd you cancel Maui? That was our trip. Each voicemail sounded more confused than the last. More emotional. She wasn't angry, not yet, just disoriented. Like she expected everything to stay intact while she went off to find herself. I didn't respond. I was honoring her request, after all. By the time Jenna sent her 7th voicemail, I was already back in my groove. Gym after work, dinner for 1, reading before bed. No drama. No waiting up. No second-guessing my texts. It felt quiet. Not sad. Not peaceful either. Just real. The thing is, when someone tells you they need space, they usually don't expect you to actually give it to them. They expect you to wait in the background like a safety net, ready to catch them when their solo journey gets too lonely. Jenna had delivered her pause speech like it was some kind of soul-searching pilgrimage, full of buzzwords, growth, self-discovery, individuality. She even mentioned how her therapist encouraged her to explore her identity outside the relationship. Honestly, I didn't even know she was seeing a therapist. I could have asked questions. I could have pushed for clarity. But something in me just clicked. She'd made her choice, and I wasn't going to beg her to stay. So, I moved forward like I would with any change. Our shared expenses? Split instantly. I removed her from all shared apps, Spotify Family Plan, Hulu, Instacart. The groceries she liked? I stopped buying them. I deleted the shared notes app we used for planning our weeks. I even unfollowed her on Venmo. Might seem petty, but it helped me draw a line. Her gym membership? I'd been footing the bill for over a year because her old job cut back benefits. Cancelled. She hadn't paid for her phone upgrade. I took the device off my carrier plan. She didn't even notice at first. And the door code? Well, that was necessary. She wasn't on the lease, and I didn't want to come home to any surprise visits. I left a box of her essential things with the doorman. The rest? She could ask for when she was ready. I didn't do any of this out of spite. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I just took her word seriously. She said we were on pause. I treated her like someone who was no longer an active part of my life. The silence, though, that's what got her. I know Jenna. She thrives in connection. She's the type who checks active now bubbles on Instagram. She notices when someone goes quiet. By day 2, her texts changed tone. Less philosophical, more pointed. Is this your idea of giving space? You're acting like I broke up with you. Are you really that cold? I didn't answer. I didn't have anything to say. She had already said everything for both of us. Then came the real trigger. She found out I'd canceled her Maui ticket. I didn't rub it in. I didn't announce it. But the airline must have sent her the notification. That's when the tone fully shifted. Are you seriously punishing me for needing space? This is so immature. That trip was for us. I read each message without emotion. Not because I didn't care, but because I had already processed it. Her version of space came with the assumption that our life together would be frozen in time, waiting for her to come back whenever she was ready. But I wasn't putting my life on pause for someone who wanted to hit play on theirs alone. So I responded just once. You want a time alone? I'm just honoring your request. No emojis. No periods. Just clarity. She didn't reply after that. Not immediately. But I had a feeling it wasn't over. She thought silence would give her peace. She was about to learn it could also give her answers. It was a little after 9 p.m. when I heard the knock. Not the kind you hear from a delivery guy or a neighbor asking about packages. This one was hesitant at first, then sharper, more urgent. Then 3 more knocks, fast and nervous. I muted the TV and got up. There she was. Jenna stood outside the door wearing an old hoodie of mine, the one she always used to steal when she felt sick or stressed. Her hair was up in a messy bun. No makeup, except for what was left smudged beneath her eyes. Her expression was somewhere between frustration and regret. I didn't say anything right away, just opened the door enough for her to speak. She didn't waste time. Can we talk? She asked, her voice softer than I expected. I didn't think you'd just shut me out like that. I nodded slightly and stepped aside. She walked in slowly, like a guest in a stranger's home. She noticed the missing photos on the shelf. I'd taken them down 2 days ago. Not in anger, just decluttering. She sat on the edge of the couch, the same one we'd picked out together 2 summers ago. She stared at the floor before speaking again. I feel like I just needed time to breathe. I wasn't expecting everything to disappear overnight. I leaned on the doorway, arms crossed, not defensive, just steady. You said you needed space, Jenna. I gave you space. But I didn't mean this. Like, completely removed. I didn't think you'd cancel everything. Especially Maui. That one still got to her. I could tell. That trip was supposed to be for us, she added. I kept my tone even. But there is no us, remember? That's what you said. You didn't ask to work on the relationship. You asked to step away from it. I just assumed you meant it. She looked at me then, really looked, like she was just now realizing how far apart we'd become in just a few days. I thought you'd wait for me, she said, barely above a whisper. I didn't flinch. That's the thing. You didn't say you wanted to come back. You said you didn't know what you wanted. I'm not here to hold the door open while you decide. There was a long silence between us. It wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. But it was full. Finally, she spoke again. So that's it. You're really done. I took a breath. Not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to say it right. I'm not angry at you, Jenna. You're allowed to grow, change, step away. But so am I. And I realized I don't want to be someone's second thought. I want someone who's sure. Her eyes welled up. Not dramatic tears, just quiet ones. She stood up, nodded, and walked toward the door. Just before stepping out, she turned around. I miss you, she said. I gave a small nod. I miss who we used to be too. Then she left. I stood there for a while afterward, not sad, not relieved, just grounded. It's strange how sometimes the moment you let go is the same moment you finally feel free. The silence after she left didn't feel heavy this time.